Bards are the ultimate multitaskers in D&D, combining charm, cunning, and just a little bit of chaos to keep their parties alive, and hopefully their enemies very, very confused. But what really makes the Bard shine is their unique blend of spellcasting, crafting the perfect mix of support, control, and raw power to turn any situation in their favor. Today, we're diving into the top 5 must-have Bard spells for D&D 5th edition, going over why they're amazing and how you can use them to steal the spotlight like any good self-respecting Bard should. And the first spell on the list for today is going to be the classic Dissonant Whispers. You sing a discordant melody at a creature, forcing them to make a wisdom saving throw. If they fail, they take 3d6 psychic damage and must use their reaction immediately to flee as far as they can away from you, taking the safest possible route. While the damage is admittedly mediocre for a first level spell, this is so much more than just the damage. First of all, it uses psychic damage, which is one of the least resisted damage types in all of 5th edition, making it useful in all levels of play. But the real power from this spell lies in its forced movement. Unlike other similar crowd control effects that push or pull enemies, this one forces the use of a creature's reaction. So not only is a creature forced to move, since it's not technically forced movement and utilizing a reaction, you also can make opportunity attacks against that creature. If your party happens to have melee combatants near that one creature, the potential damage skyrockets. A single cast of Dissonant Whispers can turn into a cascade of potential opportunity attacks, amplifying its damage output far beyond its initial 3d6. And that's not even considering the potential combinations this spell can have with other popular spells like Spike Growth, Wall of Fire, or Booming Blade. Dissonant Whispers isn't just about the damage, it's about putting your enemies on the back foot and leveraging your party's strengths in unique and interesting ways. For a first level spell, it punches well above its weight class with psychic damage and damage scaling that's keeping it relevant in all tiers of play. So whether you're a power gamer looking for the perfect spell or a bard looking to test the waters, make sure you pick up Dissonant Whispers because it is quite literally usable in any situation. Next up, we move away from combat into the world of social deception with the second level spell, Suggestion. You suggest a course of action for a creature that is no more than 25 words. The creature must make a wisdom saving throw or become charmed and must pursue the suggestion to the best of their ability. The only stipulation to this suggestion is it can't involve anything that will obviously injure or harm the target. So realistically, you could suggest anything as long as there's no damage involved in that suggestion. Or no obvious damage involved in that suggestion, at least. For example, you could suggest that an enemy just stop fighting and effectively end combat. Sure, that's a little lame, but it's doable. Maybe you suggest that a shopkeeper gives you a crazy buy one, get 10 free deal or a 99% discount. That one might be up for interpretation as well because it might harm the creature's wallet and their livelihood, but hey, that's for your DM to decide. Or if you're truly evil and just want to have some fun with the NPCs, you could suggest that one pretend to be a mime in the center of the town for the entire day and enjoy the show. And yes, that is an evil thing to do. But let's be more serious about this for a second. What if you had to go seek an audience with a noble who didn't want to see you? You could just suggest to the guards to let you in. Or even suggest to a guard to take a break and let you stand guard for a while, effectively giving you free reign of whatever they were guarding. But the best part about Suggestion is that the spell lasts for a full 8 hours. That gives you 8 free hours of free access to whatever that guard may have been guarding, and that poor guy in the center of town that's pretending to be a mime is going to have a really bad day. Realistically, this spell thrives in roleplay heavy campaigns and enables some really fun and unique ways to deal with problems. So if you ever wanted to watch your DM roleplay a king moonwalking for 8 hours straight, this is quite literally the only spell in the game that can probably do that. Next up for today, we have arguably one of the most broken spells in all of 5th edition, the first level Silvery Barbs. When a creature rolls a d20, you can use your reaction to effectively give them disadvantage on that roll. And while that's powerful, that's not all it does. You can choose one creature and give that creature advantage on their next d20 roll, whether it be an ability check, attack roll, or saving throw. You're effectively taking luck from one enemy and giving luck to your ally. And while that sounds pretty simplistic, it's actually a bit more complicated than that. First off, when I say this spell gives disadvantage, that was a little stretch of the truth to make it more palatable because this spell is actually so much worse. You use your reaction to force a creature to remake a d20 roll and they take the lower roll, which sounds simple, but it's more like double disadvantage. With normal disadvantage, you roll 2d20s, taking the lowest number. But with Silvery Barbs, it goes a step further. Let's say your target already has disadvantage on a roll. They roll 2 dice, take the lower of the 2 rolls, and then you hit them with Silvery Barbs. Now they have to roll again and take the lower of the 2 rolls, being the already low roll or your new roll from Silvery Barbs. And after wrecking that creature's day, you get to hand out advantage to yourself or one of your allies because remember, self-care is important. All of this happens in a single reaction. Disadvantage or super disadvantage for them and advantage for you or your friend. It is literally a win-win. And not only is this a super powerful effect, but it is one of the most cost-effective spells ever. Comparing this to the reigning champ of reaction spells, Counterspell, it only is a first level spell, and rather than forcing a saving throw, it just works. In fact, it's so powerful, it's not even just a must-have bard spell, but really a must-have spell for anyone who can pick it up. So if you want to make damn sure someone fails their roll, or just grant advantage to an ally, then make sure to pick up Silvery Barbs. Next up, we actually have 2 spells of the same variety, which I'm going to count as one for the purpose of this because they're effectively the same spell, being Hold Monster and Hold Person. You choose a creature within 60 feet that must make a Wisdom saving throw or become paralyzed for 1 minute. That's it, and while that might initially sound pretty underwhelming, man oh man, you would be initially wrong. And in order to understand this, we need to know what the paralyzed condition is. First off, paralyzed means that they are incapacitated, which means they can't take actions, bonus actions, or reactions. They are just standing there like a deer in headlights. Next, all attacks against a paralyzed creature have advantage, which is already bad news, but it gets so much worse than just that. The main threat of Hold Monster or Hold Person is that every single attack against them that hits is an automatic critical hit. So not only do these spells lock down enemies and prevent them from acting on their turn, but it empowers you and your allies' attacks against that creature. And just to add insult to injury, paralyzed creatures also automatically fail all strength and dexterity saving throws, so fireball anyone? Now this spell does require concentration, and a target does get to repeat the save at the end of their turn, so it's not a guaranteed lockdown for a whole minute. But even 1 or 2 rounds of this paralyzed condition can be an absolute game changer. This spell is just a masterclass in setup. It's not about dealing direct damage, which is kind of a theme with the Bard, but rather about crafting the perfect conditions for your party to go absolutely ham. Your melee friends will love you for the automatic critical hits, and your caster friends will definitely enjoy the automatic failing of saving throws. And sure, wisdom saving throws can be a bit tricky against certain foes, but when it works, man it works. Hold Person is another must-have spell that extends beyond just the Bard, and while it might not seem super impactful up front, once those crits start flying, you'll see exactly why this spell is an absolute must-have. And now for the last spell on today's list, we move back into the damaging spells with the 5th level, Synaptic Static. You pick a point within 120 feet and psychic energy erupts, detonating in a 20-foot radius sphere. Every creature in that area must make an intelligence saving throw, taking 8d6 psychic damage on a failed save or half as much on a successful one. But that's not all. On a failed save, they don't just take damage, they have to subtract a d6 from every single attack roll and every single ability check, alongside concentration checks. So not only are you dealing a large chunk of damage to a group of enemies, but you're also significantly hindering their combat effectiveness. It's perfect for breaking up formations, softening up large groups of enemies, and makes it so your melee combatants are charging into a much more safe environment. And just to clarify, a 20-foot radius is a 40-foot diameter, which means that is 64 potential squares on a combat map, making it as effective as a fireball. And sure, it is a 5th level spell compared to a 3rd level fireball, but honestly, the combination of psychic damage and the additional effects make it much more powerful than its arcane fire cousin. Synaptic Static combines crowd control and raw power into a psychically wrapped fireball-sized package. You're not just blasting enemies away, you are once again setting your allies up for success. So if you're looking for a spell that hits hard, messes with your enemies, and sets the stage to dominate the battlefield, Synaptic Static is the way to go. But what do you think? Are these the top 5 must-have spells for Bard, or did I miss some? Let me know in the comments below. And hey, if you're looking for more ways to enjoy the game, why not hit the like button and subscribe for more epic spell breakdowns, combos, and maybe a few DM tips or 2 for DMs who have players that might like videos like this one. Thank you very much for watching, I hope you enjoyed, and I'll see you next time.